promise you. Peter says, you've called us here to account for an act of kindness shown to a crippled, and it's by the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, in case you want to know. He doesn't avoid the question. He goes right straight into it. Says, I'll tell you exactly whose power was. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who, by the way, you crucified. Ha ha. Can't keep a good man down. You crucified him, but God raised him from the dead. Notice how there's two sets of things that are opposites here. Crucified and capstone. You crucified him, but God raised him. He's the stone you builders rejected, and is the capstone. He's the crucified, raised, and he's the rejected capstone. Crucified, raised, rejected capstone. They call those oxymorons. Things that, two words that are put together to form one concept that are opposites, or appear to be opposites, oxymorons. He's quoting here from Psalm 118. He says, you builders are going to reject the capstone, the top stone. He's not just a capstone, he's the rejected capstone. Same thing was said in Luke 20 by Jesus to the Sanhedrin. I am the stone you builders are going to reject. He quoted it again in 1 Peter, which I read to you a few minutes ago, a portion of anyway. Peter talks about the new covenant, the New Testament church, as not being a temple in Jerusalem, but a building of living stones on which they are built. A cornerstone, a precious one, not selected by men, but selected by God, the chief cornerstone. There's a different word here, capstone. A capstone is the top stone. It's usually the finish stone that the roof sits on. It's kind of part of the roof, and it's very important that it's strong and it's sturdy and it's one piece. In many cultures, they have different kinds of capstones. The Greeks had one, the Romans have one, the Egyptians have one that appears to be missing from the Great Pyramid, so they've rebuilt the top of it. But right at the top, the capstone, the most important part, the crowning part. And Peter here, and God, and King David, when he wrote Psalm 118, they were not talking about stones in the building of Jerusalem. They were talking about the finished product, the very last act of redemption, the top of the building. The most ornate part, the part you walk under when you go through the front door, the capstone, the part that holds a roof up, that joins the roof to the building, that part, which was usually ornate and had something written on it, like the name of God, that part is the part they rejected. No, we don't want you to finish the building, God. Just kick that, we don't want that. We don't want a roof on the place, you just discard that. We don't want you to finish the project. About 10 years ago, I was on a mission trip in Peru, and I noticed that everywhere I went in Peru, all of the houses had rebar sticking out of the roofs, like these really funky looking antenna, or like this really weird rebar hair all over the top of all the buildings. Like the worst set of hair plugs you've ever seen put on top of all of the buildings of these villages. And so I said, what is there some kind of radio? Are cell phone companies renting the roofs of people's houses out to put cell phones in these villages? And they said, no. There's a law in Peru that says if you're building onto your house, you don't have to pay property taxes. So when everybody builds a house, they build it and start a second story that they never, ever, ever, ever finish. It looks ridiculous, but it's like foxes that are so smart. That's what the Jews were saying when they rejected Jesus is, we don't want you to finish. We don't ever want you to finish the building. Leave it just like this. I know there's rebar sticking out of the roof, but we like it like this. We don't want you to put the capstone on. I don't care how pretty it is. I don't care whether it was ordained by God or not. Leave the building unfinished. And Peter's saying, the capstone you rejected is no longer a capstone to you. Now it's a stumbling block. Because we didn't just decide, God didn't just go, well, I'm going to wait until these Jews get ready, and then I'm going to put the finishing touches on the act of redemption. No, when Jesus said, it is finished, redemption accomplished, it's over. Capstone put in place on a brand new building. And if you want to pretend, Jews and Sanhedrin, if you want to pretend like God didn't do that, then the stone that the builders rejected is a stumbling block and one on which you will be dashed to pieces. The gates of hell shall not overcome it, even if the gates of hell look a lot like Old Covenant Judaism. That's what Peter was trying to say. He's the capstone, beautiful and strong, holding up the roof. He's the finished act of redemption.